In this video, I'm just going to show you how to deal with and cope with Word files that you have to keep adding to and filling in. And in particular, there are files for the sources table and the activity review, which you have to really look at very, very often indeed. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So again, if I'm on page links and I then go to my practice controlled assessment brief, if I click on that link, what happens is, having set up my folders, I'm now given this little bit of instruction here which says create a sources table using this example to help you, because the first task is really going off and finding out information that you're going to need to complete your task. So if I click on this example, what happens is, this file gets downloaded, and I can then have a look at it. I can open it up and see what that is. And the thing about this file, here it is that it's just a long list. It's a thing called sources table, and it's got these headings going along the top here, and I don't want to have to fill it in, save it, and then upload it to Fronter, because it really is very, very inefficient. So the way we're going to deal with this is I'm going to go back to my Fronter page here. Okay, so I've gone back to my student folders, and I've clicked on my name, and I've gone into my practice controlled assessment brief, because this is where this particular one is going. So I'm just going to go into welcome, and as it says here, it says to store the sources table in your development folder. So that's where we need to create it. So make sure you're in your development folder. And again, like I said, rather than having a Word file, I'm just going to create a file in here that I can use. And the way we're going to do that is I'm just going to say create, and it's called sources table. So let's just make sure that's spelt correctly, because you get marks for spelling, punctuation and grammar. So sources table, and what you're going to do is you're going to choose this option, which is that we're going to create a Fronter document which has one author, and it's not going to be visible to anybody else. And I'm just going to then click on save. You can do open in new window if you want to here, or you can do that later if you need more space on your screen to fill it in. And so my sources table is created, and if I just go back to my Word screen here, it says give details of all sources, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 columns that I need. So let's go back and see whether we can set this up. So I'm just going to type in all sources, just as a reminder to myself that that's what we're looking for. And again, if you want to have slightly more detail than that, you can do. You won't get loads of editing options here, because that's not really what it's about. It's much more about the content. And then I'm just going to insert a table. So here's my table, and I'm just going to say, well, make me 4 columns, and let's leave it at 3 rows, because we can always add another row if we need to. So my table's set up, and now possibly I think I can just highlight that, copy it, go over here and paste that, and it says I can't paste straight into it. I have to use Control V to paste in here, and then say OK. And then what you'll notice is that this has become really these columns have become really small, but they'll become wider once I've pasted in the other information. So I'm just going to pause it while I just copy and paste the other information in, so you can see what the final one looks like. So as I've pasted all my headings in at the top, what you'll notice is that the table has got bigger, and so now I can add to my table. So this is where I would type in the information I got hold of, and this will be the URL of where I found that particular source. Here I will list which publication I used it in, or which part of my work I used it in, and this, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but this will be a comment on copyright issues. And again, the reason all sources is written at the top here is when you're carrying out your research, it's best to list the sources that you end up not using, because I think it's because it's quite important to be able to show in your work that you used a wide range of sources and you decided against some of them because you didn't think that they were valid or reliable enough, or they were biased, or they were out of date. And again, we'll talk a lot more about that in class. Once you have done that, you need to click on save. Remember, this is all web-based, so everything is getting saved online, so sometimes that can take a little bit of time. But there's our table, and again, if we wanted to add to that, because we have to every time, we just click on edit and we add to it. And once you've got a couple of sources, you'll then also notice that you'll need to add some more rows, and we can just click on the last row there and just say insert row after. And I suggest you only add rows as and when you need them. And don't forget the all-important save at the bottom, because everything is online.